Well, this did not go where I thought it was going to go at all, and that made it extremely exciting. Considering how much the film is about the secrets we keep and the consequences of our actions, how did playing this part impact your relationship with secrets? Do you see yourself being more open or more guarded as a result of doing this film? Because still trust is a factor.
It's a good question. Yeah. Well, I haven't got any money hidden away in a lockup, so
That's
that's a
good.
good part. And I'm not lying to my wife about anything, so that's good.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's got that sort of fable quality, this story, really, and
Yeah.
that sort of, don't make any of the decisions these people make because it doesn't lead anywhere good. So yeah, I mean, it only reinforced what I knew already, which is keeping secrets is stressful.
Yeah.
It's I can't. What little experience I have, like when I was a teenager, or like hiding stuff from your parents and stuff like that, it was just hanging over you the whole time. So yeah, it just reinforced my decision to just try and be as open as I can.
I should hope you've never had a first day on the job like Will did, but what, if
No.
I may ask, is perhaps the most memorable first day on the job that you've had and why?
Oh wow. Um, the one that immediately comes to mind is Tenet.
Mm, yeah.
My first day was on the Amalfi Coast, which is one of the, if not the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's just stunning. In a speedboat out in the bay, whizzing along, and there's like a helicopter. Chris Nolan's in a helicopter with an IMAX camera strapped to it. There's like there's a huge, like several $1 million yacht, and I'm being told that the little speedboat yacht thing that I'm driving is like worth $1 million or something. I was like, I don't know what world I've just dived into here, but I'm enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Doesn't
Nerve
get
wracking, enjoyable. Yeah.
It doesn't get more cinematic than that. But
No.
something that I think that you're very good at across your work is navigating your character's headspace in silence. Whether it's
Mhm.
how Will reacts to the things that come out of Terry's mouth, like the learning of Mandarin bit, which was very funny, or how Will sits at the dinner table with his wife, hoping that the scales don't tip. What's the
Yeah.
art of communicating without verbal language, and what best helped you tap into that in shaping the characters you play without words?
Oh man, I think, and thank you. I think for me that really is where the art of cinema shines. Really is in the subtlety because there's something about the camera. It'll just pick up the tiniest tick, and I'm still learning that, about my work. And I sometimes watch things back, and I'm like, oh man, you weren't quite. I was about to say quite in control of that, but the difficult balance to strike is not being too self-conscious, so as to then appear robotic or appear too, mannered. I just think it's about being aware that you don't have to play to the gods the way that you do in theatre. You can just behave in a very natural way, and the camera will eat it all up. Really. So for me, really, it comes from just do it. You've really got to do your homework, and you've got to be ready for the scene that you're filming that day, knowing the basics of the scene and how it fits into the story as a whole, your character's arc, what mindset they're in at that point in time, who knows what, especially a story like this, who knows what at what time, what
Mhm.
am I hiding from XYZ person. So just coming to the table with all that so that you can relax and know that that's there. It's whirring away in the background, and you can just then concentrate on existing in the scene.
That makes sense. Speaking of grand reactions Will has to Terry, when Terry plays him his music from Man Riot, how
Mm-hmm.
Terry describes his music is so funny, and it was made even better when it comes to how Terry's ex describes it. Do
Yeah.
you, did you connect at all with Joseph Gordon-Levitt over music, given your background too?
Yeah, a bit. We talked about it a bit. He's a much better musician than I am, I learned. Uh, we had one night with where someone brought out a guitar and
It does.
did an amazing cover of Purple Rain.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's I could never do anything like that. So he's a very talented man. Yeah. Um, and I don't know if he's ever put any music out or anything like that, but who knows? Maybe he will one day.
I know he's composed, he's done some music for his show, Mr. Corman. I don't know if you've seen
Okay.
that. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's great.
I agree. I I think it's so sick that this film has a title drop about 24 minutes in. That
Yeah.
the moment that it pops up is so great and impactful. Where
Mhm.
would you say that this film's title drop ranks among your favorite title drops in films? And what is your
Oh
favorite
man,
title drop in a film?
that's such a good question. Now I'm just kind of going through my head of all the title drops. Um, I do quite like the ones where it's not there at the beginning and then it's like the big thing at the end, which actually is something that Chris Nolan does a lot.
Yeah, The Dark Knight. Yeah.
Right, it doesn't show up until like it's the last thing you see, as if like this is what you've been watching,
Yeah.
you know,
Good
something like that that I
punctuation.
kind
Right.
of that I quite like. Um, Gosh, that's such a good question. It's one of those questions where like the perfect answer will pop up in my head as soon as I end this call.
Well, it's a
I've
good
got to
one.
say, look, one of my favorite movies of all time is Magnolia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily a title drop, but that whole opening sequence is so phenomenal. And then the way that, one is the loneliest number, the way that song, the way it just the piano starts, and then you get that amazing title sequence. Like that's probably my favorite sort of like needle drop into the beginning of the movie sort of moment, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we're just about out of time, so I'll cut you loose on asking about this great scene that I love between Will and Terry, where they're talking about when you're working in this job in this particular area, one has to find a hobby on the
Mhm.
so what are some of your hobbies that you may bring to the set sometimes?
Lately, I've really been trying to focus on my photography. I really
Mm,
enjoy photography. I always have, but it sort of drifted away. It's sort of drifted in and out, but I've had two kids in the last few years, and that's really made me go. You really realize how much you want to capture their life and your
right.
sort of life with the family, and that sort of brought me back to photography as a really special thing, and it's just sort of reignited my passion for it. So and film photography particularly.
Hmm.
Lucky enough to have a couple of my dad's old cameras and so yeah, I really have been loving that, and I've been trying to bring like cameras to set, and as long as people are okay with it, taking the odd snap here and there. Yeah,
Well, I hope you put out a nice table book at some point.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll amass enough good photos. Yeah.